Today's video marks the start of a new series on the channel, one which I really hope is going to capture some of the beauty of fishing in naturalistic venues like the one that I'm fishing at today. And the name of the series is going to be Lodge Lake's Carp Campaign. Well, what are we going to be doing on this series? Well, the main aim is to catch a beautiful, natural Lodge Lake carp. So that's the main aim of the series. I've already started fishing today. I've put one rod out on the method feeder, but the other one, and the way that I'm going to be targeting these fish is on solid bags. So I've got myself a little Sonic Extractor in 6 foot, okay, and I've paired that with a specimen reel, a Guru specimen reel, and loaded that up with 15-pound line. Now, I wanted something short, I wanted something mobile that I could mount on my tackle and bait mate and fish quick sessions, short sessions in snaggy venues like the one behind me today. I am going to put a solid bag out in the bait boat today down this edge. Dad's fishing with me today. Sounds like he's in already. Dad's fishing for the bream and tench. If I get a tench on these sessions, or if we get anything else on these sessions, it's going to be more the merrier. I'll fish for anything. I'm happy with anything. So if we pick up some really nice other fish on these sessions, it's going to be a benefit. Is that a bream, Dad? First bream?
Small bream, I think.
Yeah, it's just a little skimmer. So I won't even show you that, but probably about that big. Let's get on with the video. So my solid bag setup is going to be simple. The way I like to rig up my solid bags is with these Corda solid bag leaders, and what you should do, or what you're meant to do with these, is put the tail rubber over the end of a lead and put the swivel in the bottom of the lead like that. But that's not how I rig them up. I use them as a semi-running rig. So I take the insert out of the lead and then I thread it all back in, and I literally just push the rubber insert into the bottom of the lead there. And what happens is this actually comes out on the bolt every time. So carp will bolt off. This is a nice heavy lead, 3.5 ounce lead, and that makes this an ultra safe rig. So they're what we're going to be using primarily. I'm going to be using my own baits in this challenge. So I've got some of these for in solid bags. These are my new method bees in 8x12mm. So they're a little orange and yellow sweet and sour corn wafter. And I think because they're small, because they're subtle, they're going to be perfect for in solid bags. So I'll be using them, and maybe if I'm getting bothered by smaller fish, I can put a bigger wafter in a solid bag as well. So that's the setup. So let's get some bait mixed up. I've got one of my Olympian tackle buckets here that I'm just going to pour some solid bag mix in, and I'm going to be going with my Trident solid bag mix. So Olympian baits, Trident solid bag mix, and in the bottom of the bags I'm going to be putting some insect meal, which is a powder. And then in terms of hook lengths, I've done a video on the channel how to tie up solid bag hook length, so I'm not going to go through it in any great detail, but I'm going to be using a 4-inch hook length with a size 6 or a size 8 carp hook. Simple, barbless. I am allowed to use barbed at this fishery, but I'm fishing next to snags, so if I do happen to get broke, I want the fish to be able to throw the hook. This kind of fishing on natural venues where the carp don't come out often and they're a little bit more tricky to challenge, we're going to expect blanks on this series, folks. So if you don't want to watch that, if that's not your thing, switch off now. But if you want honest, real fishing and you want to follow me through this journey, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and you won't miss another video in this series. Look, we might complete the challenge on the first video, but I highly doubt that. It is very early in the morning today. We got here at about 5 AM, so very, very early start. So I'm going to go with an ultra sharp size 6. Put those rigs back. I'm going to be using small, subtle solid bags. And then what I think I'm going to do is inject it with some aniseed liquid or some of my Olympian Baits Hydro Blood garlic liquid, which I've got in this bag because this stuff absolutely stinks, folks. So I'm going to put them next to me there. Oh, God. Bet you can smell that from over there, can't you, Dad? Stinks. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this, because this is the bait that I'm going to be primarily using for this campaign. And this is my Trident solid bag mix. Now, this is a mixture of 3 different types of pellets, hence the name Trident. And one of them is a tiny little 1mm pellet, which helps to fill up all the little gaps in your solid bag. And not only that, but the powder, which we're going to put in the solid bags first, you've seen me do this on the channel before, is just going to take all the air out of that bag. We're going to pierce the bag a couple of times. I'm going to send this out in the bait boat. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. I'm just going to leave it down there, out from this tree line, and hopefully that screams off at some point. But to keep myself entertained on these Lodge Lake videos, I am going to have a rod out on the method feeder as well, just so the videos don't get too boring and we can maybe pick up the odd fish. So to keep you all entertained, I've got a second rod out behind the camera here, and the other one is going down this margin. What I'm also going to try and do in the video is get more wildlife shots and stuff like that, and I'm going to really spend time enjoying the setting, enjoying being out. So I'm going to tip all this out into my bucket, and I'm going to give it a right good stir up, because I want to disperse those 1mm, and what happens is over time they can fall to the bottom of your bag. So pour it out into a bucket. You can always pour it back into the bag afterwards and reseal it for freshness. But there is the solid bag. You can see those 1mm. They're like a fine rain coming out of there. And that smells great. It smells really fishy. And obviously we're going to inject the solid bags with smell. That's why I only wanted plain pellets in the Trident mix. I didn't want to put any flavours in there, because I think part of the solid bag is you can inject it with the flavour that you want. So very simple to tie up a quick solid bag. So we're going to do that now on camera, and I'll show you how easy it is to get fishing. I've dropped my rig. Oh, where's that gone? Oh, it's stuck in my arm. Well, that's a good sign. Obviously sharp. Oh, I'll tell you what, I'd lose my head if it weren't attached. Right, let's have a look. So I'm going to get some bait floss. So this is a very simple rig. It's a very supple braid. It's got a kicker on there, and it's just a slip D rig with a little micro swivel. So there's my tiny little hook bait, yellow and orange, and I'm just going to slip that onto here, and it's going to be a very subtle solid bag hook bait. And I'm hoping that just counterbalances the weight of that hook ever so slightly. So I've just trimmed the excess floss off there. I'm just going to blob the end of that floss just to stop it coming off. So that's perfectly on the leader there. Then we're going to start our bag. Make sure my hands are dry. Powder in the bottom, a few pellets. I'm going to drop the lead in. I'm going to keep it to the back of the bag. Put some more pellets in. Put the hook bait in, but try and get the hook bait to the front of the bag. There we go. So lead's at the back, hook bait's at the front. Put some more pellets in to fill it up. On the next session, folks, I'm going to have these ready. So I'm only going to show you this once. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to spike it a couple of times, and then I'm going to pat it down and get it as tight as possible. Not that it matters because I'm not casting it, but I do want all the air out. Get some PVA tape and bind that around the top of the PVA bag to keep it tight. A couple of granny knots. And then I'm going to get it out in the bait boat quick because it's raining. We really needed some rain, folks. I'm so glad it's rained. It might actually bring the fish on the feed. That's what I'm hoping anyway. I'm just going to trim some of this excess off this solid bag, folks. Just want it as neat as possible. without loads of residue. These bags are low residue, but when you have big clumps of it, try not to cut the solid bag leader, obviously. You can lick and stick the corners if you want, if you're that OCD, but that is a perfect little parcel of bait. And I don't know whether you can see that on the camera, but those 1mm are filling all the gaps. And then you've got the insect meal at the bottom. We'll take our main line and tie the solid bag on. Make sure the knot's nice and strong, test it for strength. Feels okay. Trim it off neat. Just going to run some heat through this line, get the minor coils out, because I want this laying flat next to the solid bag. I don't want it coiled up in the water. And there you go. It's a nice straight running piece of line after the solid bag and the leader. Then what I'm going to do is take some of our garlic hydro blood and I'm going to inject that in the bag. Not loads, because this stuff is really powerful. Just a couple of bursts. Garlic is a superb fish attractor. It stinks and it's horrible to work with, but my god, do the fish love it. So as you can see, I've got my bite alarm set up on the tackle and bait mate there, so I can just take this with me on sessions. These are going to be short flyer sessions, trying to pick up the odd fish at any time of day. I'm going to put my chest cam on, I'm going to get this out in the bait boat, and hopefully a big old naturalistic carp rips that off. We'll see. Got to be in it to win it. And if it doesn't, there's nothing wrong with that technique. I'm just going to put up a few loose offerings of pellets around there so I get a slightly wider spread, and then obviously the solid bag in the middle. Got my lovely assistant here with the bail arm open. I'm going to send that out straight, try not to get it dripped on. You got a fish on, Dad. Dad, you got a fish on. I've got it, you're right. Just off from them overhanging trees. That's that landed. Close my bail arm. Sink my line. The beauty of these little rods is I can play it under canopies and in tight swims, which is what I wanted it for. I want my rod tip really low, just in case any ducks swim past. Something like that. Dad's obviously just had that bit of a run and he's reeled in and he had somebody else's line on the hook, but what usually happens is bigger fish like carp or maybe big tench, they can pick up these things, and obviously when they're feeding in the area you end up hooking the rigs rather than the fish. At least he's got a rig off a fish. But I'm going to recast this. This has been in quite a long time. I'm actually going to re-rig this up with a bigger method feeder and a carp rig. I'm going to fish this one on a carp rig as well. So that's my plan. I'm after bigger fish really, so hopefully it'll put the skimmers off, but similar sort of setup, just with a beefed up method feeder and a stronger rig. Because I'm obviously fishing for bigger fish, I want something just a bit more substantial on. Not that you can't catch big fish on light methods, but I want to get more bait out there, so on and so forth. Size 8 feeder hook going on. And that is 12-pound mono, that rig, for the method feeder. Get a rubber mould with a set. Let's get it out. Right, so the solid bag rig's been out a couple of hours and I know for a fact that this place is absolutely jam-packed full of small fish. So chances are that most of the pellets that were around the hook bait have now probably been eaten. And the fact that these mallards have been swimming back and forth through my line, and whether it's pulled my lead or not I don't know. So I've just made up another solid bag ready to go out, and obviously you can have 3 or 4 of these already made for a session, which is obviously what I'm going to do next time. Just wanted to show you the full setup this first time. So I'm going to reel this in, we're going to cut the bag off, we're going to tie this other one on. Now what you can do is you can have a big loop tied in your main line and do it that way, but I like to use a slightly stronger knot than a figure of 8 loop knot on the main line. I'd rather tie it direct to the solid bag leader, but whatever's your preference. Obviously it's easier to tie a big loop on a figure of 8 loop knot. I think it's time I reeled it in and we put it out. I'm going to actually come a little bit off the tree this time. I'm not going to be tight up to it. In these situations it's hard to know whether you're in the right spot. It's hard to know when you should recast. Probably the best thing to do is use your Watercraft, pick a spot that you think looks good for that session and stick with it, and then the next session try a slightly different spot, and that way you're covering more area. So we've reached that point in the video, folks, where I start making excuses on why I'm not catching. And I've been thinking about it, and obviously we've had a lot of rain going over the last couple of days. Now I'm only joking, but you can't set out with the expectations of catching a specimen fish every time you try for them, especially in a park lake or a natural venue like this one. It just doesn't happen like that. So I haven't come out today with the expectation of catching anything. I've come out today with the expectation of trying this spot that I've been wanting to try for ages, and if I catch, I catch. If I don't, I don't. And if people want to think that I don't know what I'm doing, that's absolutely fine. I'm really not bothered what people think of me, whether they think that I can fish or can't fish, or negative comments or anything like that. Doesn't bother me at all. Dad's had a couple of skimmers, so that's all he's had. And if he's only had a couple of fish on the method feeder, that tells me that it's fishing tough anyway. We've just had bank holiday, and as I was saying to you, this genuinely is a reason. Obviously we've had that prolonged period of heat, and then for it to put a load of rain in the water, it affects the chemical composition of the water, loads of fresh water going in. I thought that was a fish topping then, it wasn't, it was a diving duck. Oh my god, the mallards. So that can affect things, and also it adjusts the water temperature as well. Scientifically, it could wash a load of natural feed into the water that the fish get preoccupied in feeding on, a lot of runoff. So there's loads of reasons why a big influx of water could affect the fishing. Temperature drop, we've had a 5-degree temperature drop from last week. So those 3 things in combination will make it tough fishing, and it can be a little while at this venue before the fish find the feed. It's a big lake, this really big volume of water, so it can take a little bit of time for the fish to find you. It's all about patience, and I must admit I have not got the best patience, which is why I don't do loads of specimen fishing. I prefer to be active and, you know, catching a good stamp of smaller fish, sort of like 10 to 12 pounds, and going after, you know, one bigger fish in a 24 or 48 hour period. But I still enjoy targeting the bigger fish from time to time, and sometimes it's really good to just get out and challenge yourself and do something a bit different that is maybe not within your comfort zone. And park lakes and targeting specimen fish are definitely not within my comfort zone. I prefer private, quiet little fisheries that are great to film at. But what I'm also really excited for is the reopening of river season, because I've marked out some really good spots on the Ribble that I want to try and target some specimen chub, so that's something to look forward to. And when I say specimen chub, I mean 7-8 pound chub. That's what I want out of the Ribble, 7 or 8 pound chub this season. So that'll be something that we'll be going targeting once the season opens back up, and I'm sure that whilst targeting these specimen chub, we'll have some other nice fish along the way as well. Dad's munching through his Aldi Rich Teas. Easy into it, Dad. That's... it must be a tench. That must have been a tench or a carp.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's come towards me. It's come in quite easy, that's all.
It is for the size of it, Dad. That's a lump.
If you want to film that,
That is an absolute lump, Dad.
Oh, yeah, it is. That,
On the sweet corn wafter. What a nice tench that is, Pops. Long time coming, that bite as well.
absolutely.
Oh yeah, that's brilliant, that, isn't it? Well, it's certainly not an easy fishery, this, folks. I wouldn't ever be coming here expecting to catch. One of the bailiffs, Eddie, is actually just behind us at the minute, and he wants to have a quick chat with everybody about the fishery and about carp fishing here. But Dad's going to give this a quick way. You just want to hold it up, Dad, quickly? Wow. Wow. That's a beast. I would say about £6, 6.5.
It doesn't feel very heavy though.
I know, but it's a wide fish. So obviously a few of you'll know from my last videos where I'm fishing today, and I'm fishing at Berkacre and we're on the big lodge. And I just want to start by saying we're not fishing this swim because I think it's the best swim on the lake. We're fishing this swim because I'm filming and I'm out the way of obviously all the dog walkers and everybody walking past. So if you do want to visit Berkacre, try different swims. Eddie's the bailiff here, and he's going to talk to you about some of the other places that the carp come out and carp fishing in general at Berkacre. So it's not easy, is it?
No, it's not an easy water. I mean, it's very low stock. Personally, I'd say I've had about 25 to 30 carp out in the last 2 years, but most of them have been double captures, and I've caught one about 4 times actually.
And you fish it often as well, don't you?
Yeah, I fish it often.
You're a regular.
Most of my success is, I don't know if you'll be able to he might show you later on the video, has been there's a peg over there that's got a bit of flat ground on it, and you get a lot in the margins over that side and the far bank, to be fair.
So if people wanted to come and fish it on a day session like I'm doing today, where would you say some of the best spots are for the carp? Where would you suggest? So you're saying the far bank markers, I know they move around. It's a big water.
They do move around. I would say on the bottom bank, there,
down the far edge,
there's plenty of pegs there, and there's a bit of a step off.
If
you fish a few rod lengths out, you might be lucky, but you never know where they are.
No.
I mean, to be honest, if you were just getting going as a carper, this isn't the place to come.
No,
if you're a multi-species fisherman, bream, tench, and maybe an odd carp,
ideal.
Then it's ideal.
Worth a go.
There's a few of us who fish for carp on here, and like I say, you've got to be dedicated.
Oh, of course,
you really have to be dedicated.
And this is one of the reasons that I'm obviously trying from today. It's a challenge, and as you've seen from the video, we've had one fish all day. It is by no stretch of the imagination an easy water, and you're going to have to put the time in, you're going to have to put the dedication in, if you want to get carp out of the fishery. But Eddie just wanted to mention that couple of things. And
can I just mention that if anybody does want to come and catch carp, please use the right gear, as in it's fish safety is paramount.
The snaggy,
good sized landing net, good sized cradle, unhooking mat, decent sized line. That's the paramount thing, fish safety.
Yeah, fish safety, fish.
So you're welcome to come and have a try, but don't expect good results for carp fishing here, because it's very, very difficult. There's a lot of us will like it that way because the rewards are better. Yeah,
of course.
But
and especially if you're local.
Yeah. But if you do fish for carp, you'll still catch tench and bream on the same tactics, if that's what you want to, if that's your thing. You know,
Just bear in mind that it is a tough water, and don't be scared of trying different areas of the lake.
There's no predominant pegs for catching any fish.
I just wanted to say that as well, because it looks like I'm fishing here all the time because I think this is the best spot.
I understand there's some
But
people behind.
obviously
now.
there's people walking about all the time. It's a park lake, I'm filming, and this is one of the only swims on the lake where you get that kind of offset. So that's why I fish
Yeah,
it.
my favourite peg is opposite side of the lake, but obviously I'm not filming.
No,
But
of
there
course
are
not.
people walking about 2 yards behind you.
Yeah.
Hell of a lot of dogs, and you just got to put up with it. You know.
There we go.
Right.
Bit of information about Berkacre. So you can see how snaggy the bottom here is in this peg, because obviously of all the trees and stuff like that, it'll look like this all the way down. And can you imagine if your PVA bag had landed over the top of something like this? It just wouldn't be presented right. And sometimes that's why it can be good to do a little bit of a recast. But yeah, very snaggy. Oh, this wind. Whose idea was it to start this Lodge Lake Carp campaign? Absolutely stupid idea. Oh, it's been a tough one today. Luckily, my dad's had a nice fish, so I've had something to show you, but I knew it was going to be hard. I was under no delusions that it was going to be a tough day today, and it is school holidays and there's more and more people coming round the lake. It is mad busy. There's kids shouting, there's dogs running in and out of the peg and everything, so it's getting to that point where I'm going to call it a day. But the Lodge Lake Carp campaign will continue, and I'll be back here, and I'll be filming a couple of other venues as well for this. I really don't know why I do it to myself, folks, because I'm like you guys. I've only got limited time to get here out on the bank and try these things. So when I'm out on the bank, I want to be catching, so I can't dedicate loads of time to this, but it's something that I'm going to be dripping in and carrying on doing. And I'm probably just going to be doing like short flyer sessions, trying to pick up the odd fish, stalking with a little rod and stuff like that. So we're just going to carry on, and it's going to be a tough one, but it's going to be an interesting one to follow along with. Nothing wrong with the techniques, PVA bags are right, and I'm sure that if we were on the fish, we would have had one. This campaign is going to take a lot of patience and a lot of perseverance, which I have a very limited supply of, but it's good to challenge yourself, and it's good to try new things, and it's sometimes good to target the big lumps, and I'm sure that we'll pick other fish up along the way. I was certain that this wind, this westerly wind blowing into us here today, would have really brought them on the feed. Somebody came round and said that the carp had been spawning again. I don't know how true it is. I've not seen any signs of it personally, and the bailiff said that they haven't been spawning either, so I don't know. I think it'll be worth probably trying a few different swims and potentially coming doing an evening session here and being a bit more mobile, and yeah, just take it from there really. But I hope you've enjoyed watching. If you want to follow along with this series, make sure you hit that subscribe button, as I've said before. And I just want to say once again, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next Westies Angling. I'm going to carry on fishing, try and pick up a last fish in this last hour or so, but I wanted to do this outro because it's starting to get busy behind me, and I only want to be filming when I need to. See you next time.